Close to 29th and Guadalupe, an area that is constantly changing, stands a military surplus store that first opened back in 1994. We wanted to learn more about the business and its longevity in the area, so we have Ed Hall, owner of the Quonset Hut, joining us this afternoon. Ed, thank you for being here. Nice to see you.
It's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
I wanted to find out about your business because it's been around for almost 30 years and you've gotten to see other stores in that area come and go somewhat recently. What do you attribute that success and longevity to for the Quonset Hut?
I don't know when to quit, I guess. No, actually, I think it's what we embrace here. We're not just a retail store that sells, Army goods come and gone off the shelf. We actually embrace the culture and the life of the military. There's a lot more behind the shop that we do here besides just sell things. This is a place where our veterans can come to and feel comfortable taking a walk down memory lane, essentially, seeing things up on the wall that they haven't seen for time in service for the last 25, 30 years or more. We have a lot of ephemera and odds and ends that represent what they saw in the service when they were there long ago. Flags and pins and heraldry. A lot of that is a lot more of the military than just guns, tanks, and jeeps. And they come here and they see those things like they did around the post and in the barracks. And it makes them feel very comfortable. I've heard more stories. Gosh, I wish I had a tape recorder over the years to hold on to some of those stories, but it's all upstairs in my brain. It's been a really good ride this whole time, and I'm really proud to be the owner of this store and walk the walk that I have here.
What a mark you've had in that area, because there's just been so many changes and development there in that portion, kind of close to the drag. What do you make of all the changes that have happened in that area around the store?
It's sad. It's a lot of what I call gentrification that's going on is changing the face of Austin and what it used to be. However, I think that I'm holding on to a little bit of that old Austin. I'm actually considered a brick in the wall now from old Austin as long as I've been here, and I really haven't been around as a lot of those earlier businesses had, but a lot of the generation that grew up with my store being here considers me so. The changes are very modern and very different from what my store represents. We represent a lot of history. And so we try to hang on to that, regardless of what's going on around us in the advancement and growth of what Austin is going through right now.
Well, that history is on full display just behind you there. But we also understand that film studios have reached out to you about helping with some projects from time to time. Tell us more about that, what you can.
My first job was a home run. I had a friend that I used to be involved in living history with. We dressed up in uniform, went out into the field and played Army, World War II stuff. And this fellow's name was Michael Boyd. He became a well-known costume designer. Since he knew me, he gave me an opportunity to jump on board to the film We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson. Back in 2002. Right out of the box, being my first job like that, I was very surprised, but he said I did a very good job, and he took good care of me. And in result of that, he gave me subsequent jobs over the years. Tropic Thunder, did some stuff with SWAT with Samuel L. Jackson, we did some stuff on Secondhand Lions, which was a film that was done here in town, but that wasn't one of Mike Boyd's projects. And over the years, a plethora of other films have come my way, and we've been successful in keeping up the pace, and staying good with providing them with things that they needed. Most recently, Fear of the Walking Dead. I was helping them with their television project for about 5 years. Now I'm doing some things with Walker, Texas Ranger, and it's been a real joy in helping with these television and silver screen programs over the years. It's been a good help to my business, and I can look back and say, wow, that you know, to my kids, your dad helped out with that. And a lot of my customers are very surprised when I tell them that a lot of what went into those films, and quite frankly, with We Were Soldiers and Tropic Thunder, and another film that was a National Geographic special that was filmed at Fort Hood. It was a 6-month-long project, Long Road Home. Gosh, about 70 or 80% of the military items in those projects came from this little store, and a lot of people are very surprised to hear that. But it's not the size of the place; it's what you have and the knowledge that you put into it. And I guess I can thank my dad for that.
Well, a lot of history to share there. Ed Hall, the owner of the Quonset Hut there in Central Austin. Nice to talk to you today. Thank you again for joining us.
Pleasure. Real pleasure. Thank you.